In this two-part interview, Braintree mayoral candidate Joe Powers spoke with a panel of editors and reporters from the Patriot Ledger.
I'm looking at my candidacy as the best of both worlds, if you will. As Rick showed you with that piece from the archives, I've been very active in Braintree government for over it's 18 years now. I balance that, or I like to think that I balance that with 15 years of business experience. You know, what I say at the debates of actually being out, just like the voters, in the real world. You know, having to be held accountable, having to meet budgets and deadlines and commuting and all that stuff that you know, we all have to deal with. And that has given me not only a recognition of some of the best practices that you can bring from the business world into government, but also a recognition that, you know, and I saw this when I was town clerk for 3 years. When you get into town hall, when you get into government, you tend to lose a little bit of that connection with the real world. You know, one of the things I've noticed and that I've talked about in this campaign is that we in government haven't done and don't do a good job of customer service. You know, looking at the residents and the voters and the taxpayers as people that we want to interface with, that we want to help. You know, it's very natural in the business world that you'll do anything you can for your client, to make the client happy, to make sure the client is getting the services that you provide that they want. There isn't that mindset in government today, so all of that is what I think I bring to the table, and I think it's very different from my opponent in the general election.
A little personal background, Joe. How long have you lived in Braintree?
Born and raised.
Born and raised? Go to Braintree schools?
Braintree Public Schools, K through 12, class of 1986.
Married, children?
Married, actually a classmate. We're expecting our first child in a month.
Oh, congratulations.
So thank you. We're very, very excited about that.
It's a good time.
So why are you running for mayor?
If you look at things that I've done, public service-wise, I see this as obviously an historic opportunity, a unique opportunity, but also a perfect opportunity for someone with my background to make a difference in our government from the word go. Especially where this government is being built, if you will, and still in the process of, you know, being finished based on what our charter is. And I look at it and say, you know, there's so many connections between the offices that I've held and what the mayor is going to be responsible for. School committee, the mayor is the 7th member. Not only served, but was a chairman. Served through very difficult budget times. So any of the bad things that can happen budgetarily, finance-wise, when you're talking reductions in force and larger class sizes and all those things that you have to contend with, I've been through that. So I think it's great to have that institutional knowledge and to bring it to our new government, because I think it's going to be very beneficial. As moderator, you know, 79 people appointed by the moderator and all these different advisory capacities. Many of these positions now, they go away. But as I've told people, we can't let the function go away, and we certainly can't lose the knowledge when you talk about the finance committee, the capital planning, and personnel board. So again, having that unique interaction with those folks, the only candidate who's been a moderator, who's been a school committee member, to bring all that to bear on the government, I think it's a perfect fit. It's a great fit for the government. I think it's a great fit for me, and the timing couldn't be better. The timing couldn't be better because there's no more critical time than when the government first begins to make sure that we build it right the first time. So with that always back in the back of my mind, knowing that, okay, we need to achieve something, I'm running because no other candidate can bring those experiences, and I think those experiences are very important. That's the professional answer. The personal answer is, as a student of history, as someone who was born and raised in the town, there are some things that I've been able to do in the town that people, great people have mentored me and trained me and shaped me. And to now have the chance to give back, to now have, you know, unlike any other way, and to build something that's going to help them is a fantastic opportunity. And the thought of being able to walk from my house to my office, walk home for lunch, you know, see my newborn, all that stuff, that all comes into play, because to me it's not a job. It's your life, you know.
You said, Joe, that needs weren't being met government wasn't delivering the services? Specifically, what is it that you see that you can fix from a central point as opposed to this representative government? What is it that you want to attack? What do you want to address when you walk in?
And I'll start with the intangible. One of the things I will change as mayor is the culture. You know, I talk about treating our residents and our taxpayers and voters as our customers. I work in an organization, I work in a business. We are purely a service industry. And if we don't service our clients or our customers exceptionally well, we're not going to have them. They're going to leave. We're not going to be successful. So in the years that I've worked in business, the focus has always been on exceptional client service, recognizing that intricate bond and that deep bond between the two groups. You know, we need them to exist, and you know, they need us to do things well. And I thought about it. Government is the ultimate service industry. We're not producing many things, but there are so many things that we have to provide to the community. And I'm going in there with the mindset that the first thing we start off with is we recognize that, you know, we're here to serve them. And that's a good thing. That's exactly what this whole relationship is supposed to be about. The tangible thing is accountability. It's kind of dry, but I'm the candidate that talks about effective programs, efficient programs, and accessible programs. So whatever we do, it has to work. Whatever we do, we have to do it well because we have finite resources. And everything we do, you know, for the government, I use the word accessibility, meaning we have to let the public know how we come to these conclusions.
The new mayor is going to be walking in with $81 million budget, roughly.
Between school and
Yep.
operations.
School and operations. You're going to have, you know, tight local aid funds coming from the state.
Mhm.
You've got a, depending upon who you ask, $2 to $4.5 million deficit in the water and sewer department. The trash fee clearly is up for review. You're going to have one, two, if I remember correctly, 3 of your unions still to negotiate.
All of them. And I believe the correct number is 9. If you look at it from the new view of the new government and the mayor. So yeah, all 9 collective bargaining groups.
All 9 collective bargaining groups. Downturn in the market, which is going to affect values of homes, therefore it's going to affect your tax revenues.
Yep, hoping that the equity markets are okay for my
Yep.
401k, but yep.
Where's your money going to come from?
I'm not convinced that it's not already there. You know, well, let me put it to you this way. The first thing we have to do is start with what we have. And that's a classic example of what I mean by reevaluating everything. You know, if a program's not effective, by the very nature, it's not efficient. Right there, we're losing. Right there, we're doing things poorly. Right there, we're losing money. If you build with the effective and efficient in mind, you know, if you look at, and I don't mean to sound too much like a businessman, but that's the background I have. If you look at what the business world loves to call synergies, you know, and Braintree actually, I was very proud, Braintree used the term synergies a few years back when we created the DPW department. If we go from all of these myriad different offices and we consolidate them into the Department of Public Works, we'll achieve synergies of cost, synergies of employees, and so on and so forth. Well, we consolidated everybody and it grew. So, you know, it wasn't effective, it wasn't efficient. But the consolidation's there. You know, I know that the DPW department has in the order of 78 positions, 6 of which are still on the books, but they're not filled, they're not being used. There are plenty of places where we can begin to look and say, okay, where do we tighten the belt? How do we make it better? Now, I'm not talking layoffs. I'm talking a better understanding of how we do things.